Where did measure words come from? How does learning about them deepen your knowledge of Chinese culture? In this lesson, you'll learn a bunch of measure words and even more about how they got their place in the Chinese language. In Chinese, a number cannot usually quantify a noun by itself. Instead, the language relies on some classifiers referred to as measure words. When a noun is preceded by a number, a classifier must normally be inserted before the noun. Let's look at examples. In English, we say, we have 3 cats. In Chinese, 我们有3只猫. So we see a special word inserted between 3 and cats. That's the measure word. 只 is the measure word for some animals. In this sentence, 我们有3把雨伞. Now, the noun is umbrellas, and we see the measure word has changed to a measure word for nouns like keys, knives, teapots. It was not always the case that every noun required a count classifier. In many historical varieties of Chinese, use of classifiers was not mandatory, and classifiers are rare in ancient writings that have survived. Some nouns got classifiers earlier than others. Some of the first documented uses of classifiers were for inventorying items. Interestingly, the first nouns to have count classifiers paired with them seem to be nouns that represent culturally valued items, such as horses and scrolls. The special status of these items is still apparent today. Many of the classifiers that can only be paired with 1 or 2 nouns, like pi for horse and other ridden animals and bolts of cloth, and shou for songs or poems, are the classifiers for those same high-class items. Such classifiers make up as many as 1/3 of the commonly used classifiers today. Across dialects and even speakers, there is huge variability in the way classifiers are used for the same words, and speakers often do not agree which classifier is best. For example, for cars, some people use 不, others use 台, still others 量. In fact, a person may change the measure word for the same noun depending on a few factors. For example, different nuances of meaning the person wants to convey. Sometimes measure words can reflect the speaker's judgment or an opinion about the object. An example of this is the word for person, 人, which uses the measure word 个 normally, but uses the measure word 口 when counting the number of people in a household, and 位 when being particularly polite. A group of people may be referred to by massifiers, such as 群, 一群人, or 一帮人. The first is neutral, whereas the second implies that the people are maybe up to no good or a group of troublemakers. It's estimated that using measure words did not become grammatically mandatory in Chinese until about 1,000 years ago. Classifiers did not gain recognition as a part of speech until 1898. In the 1940s, Chinese linguists started calling them unit words, 单位词, and finally coined the current expression measure words. 个 is quickly supplanting other measure words and is by far the most commonly used measure word. In a Harvard study of frequency of Chinese characters, it ranks 17th among all Chinese characters. Native-speaking adults and children tend to use ge when they don't know the appropriate count classifier, and even when they do, but are speaking quickly or informally. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what you'd like to see in future videos.